All right, guys, let's be blunt. MBA program rankings are clickbait math. Really. They exist to sell magazine subscriptions, online subscriptions, traffic, and ads. They're not there to help you. That said, they can be useful in some ways, but they're misleading in a lot of others, especially if you're making a career pivot. Today, I'm going to help you understand how to understand the rankings and how to find your place within them without getting lost in all the clickbaity drama. Hello, I'm Angela, the founder of MBA Protocol, where we help humble overachievers like you get into top MBA programs with scholarships to power bold career pivots that actually launch you into a career you love. The thing about rankings is that they are a rough proxy for brand outcomes. In other words, the schools that tend to land routinely in the top 10 tend to have the most clout, the best brand reputation, the strongest alumni network, the strongest curriculum, also learning experience. The schools that tend to land in the next 10 tend to have the next strongest alumni network, brand clout, and learning experience. They help you sort schools into broad categories, but the nuances of the rankings, as in who's number 1 and who's number 7, are truly, truly, truly unimportant. And that's especially true if you're making a career pivot. The rankings are not a substitute for actual thinking. You're about to make a huge investment in your future, not in the school. Understand this. Buying an MBA is not investing in that program, it's investing in yourself. So your approach to the rankings has to start with you, with your background, with your goals, and with the specific pivot you're trying to make in mind. I've seen people make all kinds of application mistakes vis-a-vis the rankings over the many years that I've been helping people get into business school. I've seen people stress over 3 points in the rankings and being crestfallen when they don't get into a school that ranks just slightly above one that they got into with a hefty scholarship. When both schools share the same recruiters, have the same pay and advancement outcomes, and even sit within the same broad tier of reputation. And I've seen people turn down or ignore a much lower ranked school that had an unmatched strength in their niche industry, that had a massive regional network where they wanted to live, and a huge scholarship to boot. Our most successful clients end up at the school that's best for them and their future, not necessarily the best ranked program. That's why we've had clients turn down Chicago Booth to go to Tuck, because it was the community where they really felt that they could build the network that was going to sustain the rest of their career. We've had clients choose UCLA over Wharton because they knew that to get into the industry that they wanted in the West Coast region, UCLA would set them up for greater success than the stronger branded Wharton would. And we've had clients choose Berkeley Haas over Harvard because they wanted to move into the tech space and they knew that they would have a lot more interesting and creative options coming out of Berkeley than they would coming out of Harvard. The ideal school for you will have a ranking because all the schools are ranked. But that ranking has nothing to do with you and your future and the value you're going to derive from your own MBA. So as you're approaching school selections, feel free to start with the rankings. The rankings are, in fact, a good place to start to help you understand how schools rank amongst each other in terms of competitiveness and difficulty of admission. We built our entire MBA odds calculating AI on top of the rankings. If you want to go get your free odds report on any of 30 top US schools and 10 top European programs, just head over to mbamo.com, enter a little bit of information, and then you'll get a 20-page readout on your candidacy as it lines up with historically successful candidates at that school. When you do this, you'll also get an answer that tells you whether that school should fit into your portfolio as a reach, a match, or a safer school. This is where the rankings can be really useful because it helps you sort schools in terms of where are you generally looking for reaches, where are you generally looking for matches, and where are you generally looking for safer schools. And your test score, your GPA, and your broad strokes career trajectory are going to have a lot of information about where you're going to be competitive as a candidate. And MBA Mo will give you all the answers you need to understand where you fit in. Odds-wise, not culturally, recruiting-wise, or in terms of the future that you're actually trying to build. So once you've begun to calibrate your candidacy against the rankings, now the real work begins to research the schools that are going to advance your specific career pivot. We have a ton of resources to help you do this. And in fact, a huge part of the MBA Momentum Club is helping you get ready to apply. And that includes figuring out your MBA path, post-MBA, thinking through school selection strategically and carefully, choosing your portfolio, and then doing some in-depth research. I would absolutely love it if you would come out from behind this parasocial relationship we have here on this channel and join the MBA Protocol MBA Momentum Club community. It's entirely free, no strings attached, ton of resources. I'm in there every week guiding people to make good choices in the run-up to the MBA application build stage of applying to business school. Some of the top resources we have in there are helping you think through your goals, assess the schools that you're interested in vis-a-vis whether they help you get there or not, and then deciding on your school portfolio, leveraging the rankings, but setting them aside so that you don't make the mistake of just pursuing prestige. Applying to a certain business school just because of its brand is like chasing glamour over substance. It's not going to get you to where you want to go. So get yourself into the MBA Momentum Club so you can start making substance-based choices on your MBA journey. I'm also going to link our career placement report in the description below because that's another really good starting point to understand which schools are going to bridge the gap from where you are to where you want to be. So as you approach the rankings, do so with a huge mountain of salt. Because let's face it, the rankings are first and foremost clickbait. The methodology that underlies them prizes factors that have nothing to do with your future and what's going to make that school a good fit for you. Things like average GMAT score. That factors hugely in a school's ranking. Do you really care about being surrounded by people who got high GMAT scores? I almost think that actually decreases the appeal of a program. There's lots of other things that go into the rankings that actually have nothing to do with your outcome as a graduate. The rankings flatten a lot of different strengths into one simple number. But if you're a career pivoter, you need to care about specific dimensions, not just averages. You need to set the rankings aside because your personal ROI depends on your scholarships, your cost of living, and your post-MBA choices. Again, not averages. Because counterintuitively, being one of the strongest students at a slightly lower ranked program can give you an even bigger leg up in the next steps of your career than being an also-ran at one of the more highly ranked programs. Because the psychological weight of 1 or 2 or even 5 positions in a list disappears very quickly once you're on campus and in the reality of the program and the students that you're surrounded by. If rankings are making you more anxious than informed, then it's time to zoom out and turn the lens around to focus on you, not the schools. I've got a tool to help you do that at this link right here, mbaprotocol.com/quiz. This is our MBA reality check quiz that will help you calibrate where you are today, what lies ahead of you in the MBA application journey, and what are the actions you can take in the next 7 days and the next 30 days to move your candidacy forward. It'll also get you into the MBA Momentum Club for free if you so desire. I really want you thinking of the rankings in terms of tier and fit as a tool for your application, not a cage, not a straitjacket. It's your future. You can chart it however you want, no matter which MBA program you attend, as long as you're going to a reputable one that's strong. It will advance your career and help you achieve the goals that you're seeking. I am rooting for you to get into the very best school you can possibly get into for you. And if it's high in the rankings, all the better. But don't let that be your guiding light in this process. If you found this video helpful or comforting in any way, I'd really appreciate it if you'd give me a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please do so, because if you can't see from everything beneath this video. We've got a lot more great stuff coming to help you on your MBA journey. I'll see you next week. If you found this video helpful, check out this one about the 4 filters you should use while screening schools and doing your research. Something.